Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Hart. I'm the online editor with Labels and Labeling Magazine, and today we are back with another edition of our Young Manager series. And I am here with Joe, who is going to introduce himself, and we are going to get on rolling.
Good morning, Jordan. My name is Joe Leonard with Accraply. I'm one of our regional sales executives for the converting product line, as well as the converting product line leader.
So my favorite question to start all of these with is, how did you get into labels?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always knew of Accraply growing up because my uncle is actually the previous president of Accraply. He was with the company for, I believe, over 40 years and just worked his way up within the business. So growing up, I always knew what my uncle was doing. He's long since retired, but when I was getting out of college and I was looking for a full-time position, ended up being able to talk to the current president, Seamus Lafferty. Of course, go through quite an interview process, actually. And of course, landed my first full-time role out of college, and the rest is history from there.
I think probably the most common way young people get in the labels industry is some sort of familial connection, because it opens the door.
Yeah, otherwise, why would you? You don't really think about it, right? It's all kind of in the background. So I feel like it's something that someone has to almost pull you into, or at least know that it exists.
Family is definitely the best way to get that started.
Yeah.
So you said you joined right out of college. So what has been your career progression to this point? What role did you join the company with, and where are you at now?
Yeah, great question. So I started in the marketing department. My degree is in entrepreneurship, so I've always been heavily on the business side of things. And it was a great foot in the door, and that's really all I was looking for. The ultimate goal was to get into a position like this. I always wanted to be in sales, but being able to start in marketing was a great way for me to learn about the business and just understand, some of the things behind the scenes, help get the value propositions of the machines that we make out there. And from there, I was able to just grow. And just by happenstance, I ended up really gravitating towards the converting product line. Just when I joined was we were prepping for Label Expo Brussels in 2015, where we launched the Accraply Fully Continuous. So I was really thrown in very heavily to the Stanford brand and the converting product line in general. From there, just by happenstance, again, the product line leader position opened up for Stanford converting, and I was really the best one positioned to take it over. From there, I just continued to work more and really try to prove myself, and eventually, again, always wanting to be in the sales role. Once the sales territory opened up with Tim Andrews announcing his retirement, a long-standing guy, he'd been with the company again for over 40 years, and I shadowed him for a while and ultimately got to this position that I'm in today, where I have not only the territory, but I'm still a product line leader as well.
So what does it mean to be a product line leader? Can you break down what that means?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like a lot of different companies look at a product line leader type position differently. So what it means for Accraply is, the way I like to summarize it, is anything market facing. So I'm in charge of not only the product portfolio, but I have a lot of influence in the marketing that we do as well. The messaging, I have a great marketing team that I work with to help with that, of course. And then it's all about, what do we need to do to best meet the market's needs? And being in charge of innovation is quite the innovation process that we go through. And the Revolve that we just launched at Label Congress is a great example of that. So I'm heavily involved in making sure that the products that we provide to the market are meeting all the market needs, and of course, beating the competition.
So it sounds like your marketing background comes in handy for that.
Oh, 100%. Really everything that I feel like everything I've done in my past has just helped make what I do today a little bit better, a little bit easier. All that experience is there for a reason. I've always had more of a strategic marketing focus, which allows me to take that more, I guess more that equipment stance on it, and then having a marketing team behind me that's better with the communication side of things. When we come together, it's really a great team.
So you briefly mentioned that you launched something new at Label Congress. Do you want to walk us through what that was?
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched the Revolve shrink sleeve seaming platform, which replaces the successful Accraply generation of shrink sleeve converting. So for us, it's really exciting because it's our third full generation, right? Started in the mid 2000s with the seam machine, shrink sleeve seamers, then followed by the Accraply in 2010, 2011. And 10 years after that, we launched the full Revolve platform. So what's great about this is that it allows us to, really take that next huge technological leap for shrink sleeve converting, and it also makes the whole entire platform modular. So for any customer, it doesn't matter what size you are able to get your hands on the great technology that we believe just you need in order to make a proper shrink sleeve, something of high quality. And then from there, you can start with what we would call a single shaft or a start stop machine, right? Single unwind shaft, single rewind shaft. And you can build from there. You can add a rewind turret, an unwind turret. We have multiple different speed options as well, and helps businesses grow. So it doesn't matter if you're a small mom and pop or a large multinational, this machine is going to be able to be configured for what you need.
So what are the differences from the previous generation of this?
Ooh, great question. So the biggest thing is just being able to introduce more technology. It allowed us to reduce the operator's need for input and just reducing the chance for human error, because now the machine is smart enough to really check itself, right? It has its own system of checks and balances to make sure that things aren't getting out of whack. And what we've learned from, going through this innovation process, which is meeting with operators to see how they interact with the equipment and making sure that, we can make their life easier, and also talking with upper management systems, we're learning that everyone really likes this, right? The operators don't feel bad that we're kind of taking some options of control away from them, because it's, at the end of the day, it's less accountability for them, right? It's less, having the feeling like someone's looking over the shoulder to make sure they're doing everything correct. The machine's smart enough to do it on its own. And what I mean by that is it's able to, go through checks of verification for lay flat size, tolerance, as well as just make sure that it is doing, well from a preventative maintenance standpoint, right? Having, the machine tell you, hey, it's been X amount of months since we've gone through and checked these things. Hey, maybe you want to do that. Or, hey, we've ran so many linear meters of material, this might start to wear out. Would you like to order? You can order parts directly from the machine. You can ask for, service help right from the machine. We can tap into it remotely. And some of that is just based on the world we're living in today, where anything that you can do remotely is going to benefit as well.
Sounds like it's almost putting the accountability on the machine itself to take care of itself.
Right, and I think that's just the trend. Things have to get better, and that's a way that we can just make things easier on operation teams.
So with all of this kind of automation and technology advancements, are you guys striving towards more of an industry 4.0 lights out operation, or is this just a gradual kind of improvement?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say that's something we're continually working towards, right? We're always adding more technology, if as long as it's, we don't want technology for the sake of technology. We want it to actually have a true benefit. So for us, if it makes sense, it's going into the equipment. So some of the things I mentioned before, as well as, we're getting to the point where we're seeing a lot of MIS systems are coming into play with CERM and label tracks, for example. Want to make sure that we can work with those. Some customers have homemade systems where they want to be able to have more, just more information, more production knowledge about what's going on, and be able to see that on some type of dashboard, or be able to just have access to that type of information from an OEE standpoint and things like that. So to be fair, I don't know if I could call it true industry 4.0, but we're packing everything in that we can.
And we had a discussion at Label Congress about kind of working towards industry 4.0. And one of the quotes that I really took with me was, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's a series of small changes. And so any technology integration that kind of leads you there is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as we're launching this, these initial production versions of the Revolve, they're just the first ones, right? And when you look at a product life cycle, there's going to be continual improvements and advancements and software updates, for example, things that we can always put into the machine to extend its life and make it a more usable piece of equipment for our customers, for a long time.
Now, back on a more personal note to you, for people that kind of fall into label industry with connections or however they get there, what keeps you in your job? Like, what is your favorite part of your job? Do you just wake up and are jazzed about shrink sleeves and labels, or what's the thing that keeps you going?
It is funny. I do work with a group of people and we all say we're strangely passionate about shrink sleeves. Doesn't really make sense, but it's a cool thing. And I've always loved the equipment. I will say that was kind of my first love. That's what really drew me in. just what this equipment's able to do and the speed at which it's able to do it with the level of precision as well. It's always kind of amazed me a little bit, and getting a chance to work more with the engineers helped too. And then as I really got more into the converting product line, understanding the technology and the science, I was like, wow, there's a lot that goes into this. So there's that, I think there has to be that level of attachment and attraction to the subject matter. But being in a role, a sales role, and being able to work with my customers, that's really what keeps me going. I love being able to travel around and just meet with customers and feel like, okay, you have a business problem and I can solve it with a piece of equipment, right? That helps make me feel good, and help create these like genuine connections with my customers where you get to the point where you're almost more like friends. We can talk about mutual interests and things like that, and it just makes everything better, because if you're going to be out on the road and away from home a lot, away from friends and family, you have to enjoy it, and it's something I really have enjoyed.
Definitely make all of the industry stuff way more fun. Whether it's the
Oh,
events, the meetings, anything. We're a fun group of people, I will say.
absolutely, and especially having Label Congress come back, and hopefully that's the beginning of many more shows. That's where things get really fun, when you get the whole industry together, all the cocktail hours and things like that. It's always a great time.
Absolutely. So if you could put on your psychic hat and take a guess at some trends coming up in the industry, is there anything that you think people need to be keeping their eye on this, because this is really going to be big soon?
Oh, 100%. The sustainability is got to be the big one that everyone's talking about, right? It's not going anywhere, and it's only going in one direction, which is great because it needs to. And I think the industry recognizes that we need to get to a circular economy, just for our own sake. So it's great to see that everyone's coming together to work towards that as one, right? We don't have people kind of, you're not fighting each other, right? There's multiple different ways that we could get there, but everyone knows that's where we have to get there, and that path will kind of reveal itself as we keep working towards it. And what does that mean for us? And for example, the Revolve, when you're just launching a new piece of equipment into this climate, it's us is making sure that it can work with all types of shrink sleeve material that's coming out there. We work with a lot of material suppliers, as they're working on these new material formulations, to make sure that, hey, they perform like you want, because anything that's going to be adapted, right, it needs to work at the same level as the current solution. Otherwise, the market simply isn't going to adopt it. So we'll test it to make sure that, hey, it's going to be working well. And we've put certain things into the machine to make sure that, hey, not only with the down gauging in film, it wasn't that long ago that we would say that 50 micron PVC shrink sleeve film was the most popular. Well, PVC is really going away rapidly, as it should. 45, 40 micron, even seeing 38s and smaller coming to market and being adopted quite rapidly. So we need to make sure that the equipment can handle that, and it can. And I could spend a lot of time on all the little things we've done to the Revolve to make sure it can handle these equipments. But even apart from down gauging, these different formulations, right? There used to be PETG that was really popular. Now there's a lot of PET films. You've seen recycled PET, and machines just have to be able to handle this. And we're confident that what we put together can.
So are there any kind of waste reduction or energy efficient initiatives that your company is taking to be more sustainable?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you look at from Accraply standpoint, we make a lot of different equipment. To our knowledge, we're the only manufacturer in the world that makes their own label application equipment as well as label converting equipment, right? There's other people that will supply those machines to the market that don't actually manufacture their own, while we do. So for us, we have a sweeping approach to sustainability as far as, on the labeling side of things. How do we look at the power usage and what can we do there? But as far as the converting equipment goes specifically that I focus on, us, it's just making sure that we can work with these, down gauge films, and that the machines can handle that. It's more from a processing standpoint. Of course, power usage is something we're paying attention to, but not being an electrical engineer, I can't really dive into that, with that, and have a knowledgeable conversation on that. But our look at sustainability is just making sure that we can work with the sustainable films, and working with the film manufacturers that really do our part to help get those to market as quickly as possible.
Well, you have been absolutely wonderful to talk to and have shed a lot of light on your career as well as Accraply. So thank you so much for your time today. And hopefully we will be seeing you at a show in person live very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Looking forward to it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and make sure to click the subscribe button at the top of the screen. You can see more videos from this playlist by clicking the video on the right or click the video on the left to see all of our other videos.